So in this week's Property Marketing Monday, we're going to ask a question that has really come to the front recently. Can anybody do property photography? So we get asked this in a variety of forms. So we at Landlord Photography, we franchise our business and we train people who are not photographers to run property photography businesses. Okay, and we specifically look for property investors rather than property photographers, because the reason we do that is that we believe that those people have got the knowledge, they've got the network and the connections to really understand and target the client base. So we look for people, we don't look for photographers. And so there's that side of it, but also as well, with lockdown, lots of photographers, wedding photographers, event photographers, etc., have suddenly had their work just completely wiped out. So what we're actually doing is we're seeing quite a lot of non-property photographers coming into the market. They might be fantastic photographers, but the question is, are they the right people to do property photography? Are there considerations specific to property photography that you need to be aware of? Now, I can't go over that topic in this short video, but I'm going to try and cover it as best as I can. So, to give you the short answer, to those of you who don't want to watch this to the end, yes, there are specific skills that you need to be a property photographer, but I believe anybody with the desire to learn it can learn it, but you can't just jump from one discipline of photography to property photography, expect to get it spot on and absolutely right. So we're going to talk about some of those things, some of those differences in the disciplines of photography and some of the considerations, and then I'm going to go through some photos with you and just talk you through some things. So, why is property photography different to other disciplines of photography? Well, a lot of photography is about getting that artistic shot. It's about maybe capturing a moment at a wedding. When you're doing property photography, there is one overriding goal, and that is normally to get clicks on the property portals. So whether that is on Spare Room, Rightmove, whether it's on Bookings.com or Airbnb, fundamentally you want to get the prospects for your clients clicking on their listings rather than anybody else's. So that thumbnail photo that they use when they come up on a search result is absolutely critical to increasing those click-through rates. And we've actually seen where by using our photos, our clients have seen their usual click-through rate, and then they suddenly started using our photos and their click-through rate goes through the roof. And it's not about the most artistic photo, okay? It's about getting your photos to stand out from the crowd. So one of the tips that we use is we use super bright, super colourful photos there. So we don't always necessarily use the most purist, correct photo. So sometimes you could look at one of our photos and go, oh, they've overexposed that, they've done this, they've done that. Well, yes, because that's what we found gets the clicks in the portals. And because at Landlord Photography, we're all property people, we understand the problem that our clients are trying to solve, because ultimately they're paying us a fee to come and do a job, and they're paying us that fee because there's a problem there that they need fixing. So whether it's simply to get better visual assets in their marketing, or whether it's something else, we can kind of understand that problem and we can look at what they're trying to achieve. So for example, if it's an Airbnb listing and they're just not getting the occupancy rates, and they're in the right location, they've got the right price, but for some reason they're missing out. Is it because of their visual assets? Is it because of the way they're dressing the property? And that's one of the things that we can offer, is we offer a dressing service for properties. So there's nothing more off-putting than a stained mattress in a property photo, okay? And especially if it's a dark photo that makes the room look tiny. So what we can do is we can dress the properties for you, or we can just give you advice and guidance. So, and anybody can go to our website and download a guide. So if you go to landlordphotography.co.uk, on the homepage there, just stick in your email address at the top of the page and we'll send you a copy of our Preparing the Property. So it gives you some tips about what to do before your property photographer gets there. Lifestyle. So when we're taking these photos, it's about showing what it's going to be like to live there. this is the lifestyle you'll have if you live in this property. So it's selling that. It's selling that experience. It's selling that feeling. It's not just all about size of rooms and things like that and just capturing a record of that room. There's more to it than that, and we need to take them on a journey of the property and flow them through the property. Now you can do that with photos, but videos and 360 virtual tours are even better for that, and we offer both of those services. And again, that's something that non-property photographers won't necessarily offer because they've got a camera, because that's what they needed for doing their wedding photos or their event photos, but they didn't need 360 kit. They didn't need to do videos because at a wedding there was always a specific videographer or things like that. So that's another point, is when you're dealing with property photographers, especially ones who are keeping up to date with the trends and the technologies, they're going to be able to offer you other services which they can show are doing well at that market and at that time. So, for example, we offer 360 virtual tours. We have done before lockdown, and we were there and making the most of that opportunity. So, I'm now going to move on to considerations. So again, this isn't a complete list, but shows you some of the things to think about. So we want to show a property at its best, but at its best isn't always necessarily making it look as big as you possibly can, because anyone, frankly, can go and use a fisheye lens, okay, and make a broom cupboard look like a palace. But that's misrepresentation. If you talk to any letting agent or estate agent, that's not allowed. And also, all you're going to do is you're going to upset your prospects. They're going to turn up for viewing and the property isn't what they thought it was. Okay, so you're going to be wasting your time. You're going to be upsetting your prospective clients. It's not good. So what we try to do is we try to make the property look as good as it possibly can, but also realistic at the same time. And small spaces, so whether that's bathrooms in a normal house, quite often very small spaces, whether it's small bedrooms, or whether it's maybe something a bit more unusual. So again, going back to the Airbnb market, if it's a canal boat, a windmill, a lighthouse, they can be quite tight spaces when they've been converted into residential accommodation. So it's about making the most of those spaces and get the best possible photos you can without making the property feel pokey or cluttered or a bit confined and claustrophobic. So there's tips and techniques that experienced property photographers should be able to apply to sort those things out. Understanding, so your clients, the landlord, who's their client? What market are they selling into? Are they selling into the HMO market? If so, is it high-end HMO? Is it blue-collar HMO? Is it student HMO? Is it LHA? What is it? If it's Airbnb, what market are you selling into? Are you selling into stag parties, hen parties, couples, families? Because you're going to want to show different lifestyles and things like that and what's important to them, and make sure you capture that in your images. Colours, so we try and make rooms look super bright, super colourful, because colour does bring a lot to a photo. It can really bring the rooms to life. But it's not just the colours in the photo, we then play with them. So we'll then increase the vibrancy, clarity and various other bits in the back end which will help to make the photos pop. And we'll sort out any blown out windows because being able to see into a beautiful garden from a living room, that is one of the lifestyle things that you can have. You're sat on your settee looking at a beautiful garden. So if a photographer goes in, doesn't know what they're doing and blows out the windows, that end client has lost an opportunity there to sell something which is probably quite an important part of their property. And then white balance. So depending on the market that the client is aiming at, we will tweak the white balance to go with whatever the trends are at that point for that type of client. So for example, for some markets, we will warm the photos up. So we'll move it away from the blue to the yellow to make them a bit warmer. So we won't have super bright walls. We'll take them a tinge towards the yellow side just to make them feel warmer, more homely. Whereas there's other markets would do the opposite. We'd actually take them towards the blue to make them look super white, super clinical. Now, it really depends on what market you're targeting. And if you get that wrong, you can more than shoot yourself in the foot. You can really turn off your potential market. And then the lifestyle shot. So not the sort of just the record of the room, the size of the room and what the room looks like. These are the lifestyle shots. And we'll talk about lifestyle shots a bit more later. But the type of lifestyle shots depends on what type of market you're selling into. And within that market, what's the sub-market there? So is it HMO? Is it Airbnb? Is it professional HMO? Is it blue collar? Is it Airbnb for couples? Is it Airbnb for families? And you then show different lifestyle shots. This one I've got to include because when I was talking to my team about this on what topic I should do, one of the things they said was, well, yeah, because it's not all about standing in the corner taking photos of a room like some of the estate agents might think. And we had a bit of a chuckle about that, but it's true. So, yes, you can get some good photos standing in the corner of rooms taking the photos, but sometimes it doesn't tell the best story. And it's about knowing where you can show the best flow of that room, where you can capture the most of that room and show it in its best light. And that's internally, but externally, again, it's in gardens, getting the right angles, showing the property through the garden, showing the garden from the property. So, and also as well, you know, if you've got the sun, what's the position of the sun? Based on that position of the sun, what are the things you can do to take those photos without getting glare in the shot and making the most of that light? And then there's a type of photos that you use. So, for example, you can use flash photography. You can use put your camera on a tripod and do ambient light photography. You can do flambient photography, which is a mixture of flash and ambient light and a bit like HDR. And then you've got HDR. Now, we use a mixture of those depending on the property, depending on the room. So, for example, I use HDR a lot when there's windows involved because you get better results sometimes than you do with a flash. Not always, but sometimes. But I like flash photography in the market that I do a lot of work in. So in HMOs, because you've got it's flash and therefore it does wash out a bit of the colour, but that works sometimes depending on the market, and making it look super white and super clinical, that can actually help you. And again, it depends on what market you're selling into, that what photo style that you use. So if anybody, say, spent a day with me going around various clients, you'll notice that depending on the type of property, what the landlord's looking to do with it, I'll use different photography techniques to try and sell best to their market. And there are lots of things I could put in this consideration, but there's one last one I'm going to mention, is that one thing that can make professional photographers and non-professional photographers, shall we say, or experienced property photographers, is whether the walls in the photos are leaning in. So there's a function in the editing tools called transform, where if the walls are leaning in, you can straighten them up, okay? And there's also, when you're taking the photos, there's things that you can do to actually negate that and actually minimize the effect that that has. And sometimes I leave them, actually, because I've negated the risk. So I've minimized the amount of wall leaning in when I've taken the photo. And actually, when I've transformed them, I don't think that those photos have looked better. So again, it's a judgment call based on what you know of that client base and what they're looking to achieve. So now I think I've kind of bored you enough with words, so I'm going to talk through a few photos now. So first of all, let's talk through some external shots. So top left there, and I'm just going to work round clockwise. So that there is nice property, big garden, nice sunny day. I believe, if I remember correctly, when I took that shot, I haven't changed that sky. That was the sky on the day. Okay, nice, bright photo there. And I know you'll notice that I'm pretty much straight on, but I'm at a slight angle. The reason I'm at a slight angle is because I didn't want to. If somebody zoomed in on that photo, I didn't want them to see me in the reflection on those patio doors. Now, to be honest, when you're that far away, it's not such a big deal. But if I was doing a similar shot closer up, one thing you do see with people who aren't experienced property photographers is if you zoom in on the photos, you can see the photographer's reflection in the French doors. And because you've got, you know, a number of French doors and patio doors there, that was a real risk. And then next one there is that doorway. So I purposely got down low because the client wanted photos of the entrance there. They liked their doorway, but they wasn't able to get good photos, and other people who tried. And basically what they were trying to do was they were doing it straight on. Didn't really work. So I got down low and I took that photo there for them. The next one there, on the side. So you can see it's a bit elevated, that shot, and it's almost at roof height of the property, looking down, and it's nice because it just shows the size of the property. Now that one isn't one of mine, that's one of the team. That's Michael, who runs our Newcastle office. That's one of his shots, I believe, and that's just a different approach and angle to exterior shots. Next one round, the D2 sign there, that is one of mine, and that sky I haven't played with. That was the sky on the day, and that was a commercial shoot, and that is the shot, I believe, when I last checked, they were using on the front page of their website, because they like that shot. And then you've got a very different shot there of a residential street in a city. That's not one of mine, that's one of the teams. I believe it was Pierce in our Slough office, but I could be wrong. It could be one of the other team members. If it was, I apologise to them. But again, it's just showing, like, it's a nice street. Those sort of houses, very grand houses. So you're living in a street of those houses. I believe that was a flat, that one there. So it's just showing what a grand street that flat is in. So that's the external shots there. Now I could show you hundreds of different photos and show you different techniques, but you can get the idea there. For each of those photos, we've done a very different technique, because the one with the sign actually isn't really showing much of the property. Okay, it's showing more of their branding here. In this one, this is a section of internal shots, and you'll notice there they've all been dressed. Those rooms have all been dressed, and they've been dressed very tastefully in complementary colours. But what you'll see is that they've shown different things. So one top left, it's got some towels on it, as has some of the others. So that's a good look for service accommodation. It's like gives like the hotel type look, but they are using that a lot more for HMOs. So that top right one, I believe, is a HMO. And then the one top in the middle, that is another HMO. And there is the company's information pack for their tenants on the bed, because that's what's important to them. Okay, now as you can see there, those photos have not all been taken from standing in the corner. Some of them have, some of them haven't. And it's about getting it right for that room, for that shot. And also you can see that they've taken the white balance to different levels in each of those shots, working with the light of the room, working with the light of the rest of the house. So the white balance is consistent throughout the property, but also quite often working to what that property is being used for and what that client wants. So next here, I was talking about different spaces. So we've got some kitchens there, bathrooms, living rooms, dining rooms. So really it's just about where we're positioning ourselves. So again, if we go to the kitchen, the bottom left, there's a big risk there that this is one of the team's photos. I'm not sure whose that one is. But if they'd have gone straight on at the end of that breakfast bar in the middle there and taken the photo down that way, they would have appeared in the glass at the end of the shot. Doing the angle they've done there is they're actually not, you're not going to see their reflection because they're offset, and also it shows more of the room, because if you've gone straight on you might have lost some of the table there, etc. at the end. So that is a really nice way of showing the space. And then the one in the top middle, living room, again there's the joke that you always take property photos from the corner. Well, that one hasn't been taken from the corner, and because it really aligns nicely the TV with the photo on the wall. You've got the window in the middle there, and it's showing the the experience. If you're sat on that settee, you can see where your TV is, you see where the settee is down the end. It's just a nice shot, and there's good light throughout the shot. So even if you look at the front door on the far left of the shot at the back, that could appear dark, but actually in this case it isn't dark, and it's a nice shot. The other thing I want to mention here is obviously the dining table. Have made that up, so they've dressed it so it's like as if they're about to have a dinner party. But then I want to talk about bathrooms, because bathrooms can be difficult, and then here there's two different ones. So the one above, focusing on the shower there, what they've done, they've got him very low to take that shot. That's again one of the teams. I don't believe that's one of mine. and they've shown as much as they can in a very tight ensuite bathroom. Okay, so that works there, and actually I have clipped it a bit so it does show a bit more of the bathroom. And then the one at the bottom, that is an absolutely tiny space. So what I've done there is I've put the camera high up and I've captured basically the entire bathroom. Otherwise, you know, if I'd have just taken the shot normally, I would have got the toilet, I'd have got the sink, or I'd have got a little bit of white space in the shower, and that would have been it. And this is the difference, is it's about knowing these different techniques for using in that space that's going to get you the best photos. So before I wrap up, because I know someone's going on for quite a while, I just want to touch on what I call lifestyle photos. So here I've just clipped a few. So working from top left, so showing the dining room there through the light bulb, just a nice little effect there, and you've got the photo on the wall, and it's just a lovely sort of artistic photo showing very modern living. It's nice. Next photo, top middle, that just shows a desk being used, so it's a usable workspace within a room. Next one I like, so this was a roof terrace, a roof apartment, penthouse affair in London with a cracking view, and it's showing the champagne lifestyle. Now I've cropped that photo down here to fit in this presentation, but you know, it's all about you envisaging if you lived there, sitting out on a sunny evening drinking a bottle of champagne on your roof terrace. That's pretty attractive. Then if it goes to the bottom, that relaxed one, just using that sign, it's a bedroom, so it's about relaxing. And so when that's been dressed, the landlord's put that sign in. Nice colour schemes there. So really, it's just showing, you know, about being relaxed in the bedroom. Just a nice lifestyle shot. And another one there in the middle showing the laptop, the desk on the desk there with the bed and the furniture. And the final one there, just the bathroom shot. So there's a lot of different lifestyle type shots you can do. And I say what I've touched on today is just a very tiny amount. So to wrap up, do I think anybody can do property photography? Yes, they can, but they need the right training and experience and support. So if somebody just moved from a different discipline because they've got a camera and their work's dried up, yes, they're going to be able to do some good shots, but ultimately there's going to be things where they haven't got the experience, don't necessarily know what to do, don't necessarily know what the client wants to achieve. Now I'm sure there's going to be people that disagree with me there. That's absolutely fine. Feel free to put it in the comments. We at Lane North Photography, we offer full training to our franchisees, so if you want to become a property photographer but haven't got that experience, get in touch. And we also just provide photography training for property photography specifically. So again, if that's of interest, get in touch. If you've enjoyed this video and you're still watching at this point, definitely subscribe so that you'll see the next video. That's it for now. Thank you for watching Property Marketing Mondays, and I will see you next week.